Hello and welcome back to episode 10 of the Mxgp 2021 career mode. Today's episode we are off to Germany. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the track, I will absolutely butcher it. Now apologies if I do sound a bit weird, unfortunately I'm sick at the moment and I am bulk recording the Mxgp, so I'm recording the whole last 4 rounds, so unfortunately if I do sound a bit off I will for the rest of the MX2 season. But nonetheless, I want to try and say it, but I know I butchered, so I'm not. I'm going to say the Mxgp of Germany is quite a fun track, and we should be pretty good on the Husqvarna. We're having a good time with this bike. So let's jump into Germany. So once again, qualifying was a write-off. Pace isn't bad, it's just once again qualifying time was a glitch, so I was 17th I think, way off as usual, but I actually felt quite good, surprisingly. I do hope that I can get at least 2 podiums here. Ideally, you'd want a better start than that for starters, but I want to beat Jed Beaton in both races. Up the inside we go of Jed Beaton into turn 1. We just pip Jed Beaton for the whole shot. But as I was saying, the few tracks we have next, especially we have Spain next. Then we go to Mantelova, I think it is, in Italy. And the two of them tracks on this game are broken, which means I'm going to have a really hard time there. So I'm a bit anxious going in there, so I'm kind of putting myself under a bit of pressure on this one to make sure I get 2 good motos in Germany. The final race, I'm not too worried about that track, but I know the next 2 from I've seen other people playing, and they're just broken in so many ways, so I'm a bit anxious about that. So this round is really critical for my championship challenge. I know we have a nice lead at the top at the moment, but we need to build it as much as we can. So if we can beat Jed Beaton twice in today's episode, we would be really setting ourselves up for a good defense for the last 3 rounds. You can see there, a bit of a mistake there, just stay ahead of Van den Moosdijk on the Kawasaki. Had a look at the inside. This sector here, the AI are ridiculously quick, these little kind of hairpins. You'll see they kind of show a wheel every few laps, especially in here. They just, I think they can get a turn better than I can. But for now, we're holding strong on this pretty fun German GP track. This here took me a while in qualifying to realise that I was completely over jumping it and casing completely at the bottom of that. But this little bit of track here, what fun this is, just up and over. Now this time I didn't scrub it. You can actually scrub it too early and fall, so early in the race now, don't really want to be falling this part of the race, especially the fast part of the track. That actually would lose a lot of time. But yeah, so far so good for me. We're looking comfortable. Very little mistakes yet. 2.5 minutes in almost, so nearly halfway through the timer as we start another lap at 33.6. So that's slightly quicker than qualifying, I think, for me. You can see already a 33.0 from the eye. They tend to scale to your pace in the race for some reason. So when they're behind you, they'll kind of match your pace. But if they got ahead of me, they'd be running 1 minute 30s. They'd be 3 seconds quicker, and it's a bit weird because if they have that much of a pace advantage, they should be able to pass me. But a lot of time they struggle. And and again, big mistake. That leaves the Yamaha crew of Maxime Renoir. So I'm gonna have to go real aggressive and try and chase him down. But again, another mistake. So as soon as you try and push it, you make another mistake. So back to P2 now. We'll see already the gap he's pulled. So they just have such an advantage in pace. And unfortunately, it looks like Renoir has already pulled the finger out. So I don't know what I can do. Change up my lines here. Lovely little jump there. You just have to kick her up onto the base of that one. But we're kind of keeping with him. Not really. He's taking probably a bit of time. Yeah, he's already probably 2 seconds up the road. So big push on. Try and catch him. The Honda of Ruben Fernandez is in P3 behind me, but he's not an immediate threat, thankfully. Now, what can we do against his Yamaha? He's going to be quick. He's one of the faster men in the championship. He's just bloody inconsistent. He'd be a big championship threat if he could stay on the bike a bit more often. But for now, we're actually catching him in this final sector. Look, he took that last jump just very tentative. It's 2 seconds as of now, so Realistically, we're going to need a moment from him. I don't think we're going to pull that back on raw pace. You can see his first lap's over at 30 as soon as he passed me. So as soon as they've clear track, they just unleashed their pace. And yeah, I can't run that pace, unfortunately for me. 33s, maybe a 32 is possible for me, but 1:30s are just another league for me, unfortunately. It's the corner here that we made a mistake and lost the lead, but no such issues this time around. But good for me. Beaton isn't in the top 3. Big mistake again. And that is P3. Ruben Fernandez. We're going to send it up the inside. Yes, we are. Block pass. Bit of contact. He actually wheelies. But we make the move back. So just fight back for P2. Again, if he had clear track, he'd probably be 30s, 31s and into the distance. So jump now to the final lap. But unfortunately, the Yamaha has checked out into the distance. He's gone. Can't even see him on track. He's probably near the line already. But we've managed so far to keep P2 as our own position. The Honda Ruben Fernandez has been knocking on the door, but he has not been able to make it yet. Just half a lap remaining. And it's actually Beaton now up into P3. So just as I said, Ruben Fernandez. So Fernandez has dropped back. Beaton into P3. So small gain over Beaton. It should have been a bit more if we won it and Beaton was off the podium. We would have gained a nice chunk of points. But now it's only going to be 3 or 4 points over Beaton. But every point counts. Renoir wins it. Wins by about 10 seconds. Pretty dominant performance. But we come home with P2. Overall, pretty decent result. Again, beating Beaton. So that's the main goal. And we managed to achieve it that time. So pretty happy with that one. So hopefully more of the same in race 2. But it is wet. And I actually don't think I've ridden the Husqvarna in the wet. Not recently anyway. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting race. Beaton to our right. Renoir to our left. And we ace the launch. But so does that Honda. I think it's Ruben on the Rubini or Ruben on the factory or the satellite Honda. But we get the launch. You can see we barely have traction to get airtime up over that jump. But these conditions now are going to be treacherous. We're going to just take it really handy on the opening lap and see what the conditions are like. You can see already the track is very, very wet and slick. So it would be easy to make a mistake and lose the lead on this one. So as the opening rider of the pack, I'm going to just pace myself for about 2 laps just to get a feeling for the track conditions mainly. So again, get the launch. So this time we just need to do a better job of holding it if we can. The grip levels were really low. As you see, I just lost the back end there for a split second. But even these jumps, I can barely clear them. Just struggling to put power down, and it is really costing me time. You see, when we get to the line, I'm about 6-7 seconds slower in these conditions. You can just see so tentatively through these slow corners, almost coming off there, touching the barrier and hitting the advertisement board. That could have been a big crash, and that would really put us in trouble. It is the Yamaha of Renoir in P2 once again, so he's looking for the double. We're going to do our best to prevent him. But these long corners here, we're just really struggling through them. Taking it very gently still. But at that, we just have no corner speed. And that is Beaton into P2. So we are definitely holding them up as of right now. So it's going to be a tough one to get a victory in this one here. We're going to try our best. Once again, touching the advertisement board. Not the way to go about it. See, trying higher gear, getting wheel spin, bike just getting dug in. Nice red plate on the front of the bike. And then there's a yellow flag there. I have a quick look, but it doesn't appear to be. It looks like there's a bit of glitch in this game now. It mightn't be a glitch, but every time I'm near the marshal, they wave the yellow at me. It's like they're predicting I'm about to crash. But for now, we're holding on to the lead, thankfully. But again, we're just a bit all over the track. As you can see there, running off. And here's the final lap. We have just kind of kept going at a steady pace. We haven't made many mistakes. Now our pace has been pretty poor. The best is a 37.9. I imagine that's by someone who's a lot further back than the leaders. You can see Renoir is still hot on my tails as we come into the final couple of corners. And as the race went on, I got a lot more comfortable, but the pace was still not great, but it was enough just to kind of hold Renoir at bay. And 2 corners out to go, and it looks like we're going to come out with a 1-2 from 2 races, so 45 points. And more importantly, a double victory over Beaten. So up the line we come. It's going to be victory, and that was a very solid performance in the West in the German Grand Prix. So we come home with 25 points in the bag. It's actually 22, sorry, for P2. So that's 47 apiece for me and Renoir. Beaten down to P7. That's 11 points in that race I gained over the Husqvarna factory rider. And we actually take the Grand Prix victory in that one. Not really sure why. Maybe fast lap in the first race or something like that. I'm not too sure. But we get the red plate again and we keep it on the bike. So everything is going good as of right now, and we pull a nice gap of almost 21 points over Jed Beaten. But now we have contract negotiations again, and I was thinking, will I stay with Husqvarna? I just did a 1-2 in Germany, good performance, I like the bike, but then I was thinking, we're coming to the end of the season, wouldn't it be nice to build a foundation to go into the Mxgp class on a factory Honda? So I was thinking, maybe would we sign for HRC? A Honda Racing Assortment Team is what I was thinking of. But I was on the fence about leaving Husqvarna since I left Kawasaki, had a lot of trouble with the Kawasaki team. Then got on to Husqvarna, ran away with the title, dominated since, and now I'm thinking about leaving them. So Asso Motor is the team, lovely livery, and we're on the fence about this one. It wasn't an easy decision to stay or to go, so I spent a lot of time. You can see I'm kind of flicking back and through this. I really didn't know what to do. I wanted to sign for Honda because I think it would be a better decision for the Mxgp class, and we are actually going to sign with Honda. So we've left Husqvarna and we jump ship to HRC for the rest of the season. Now only time will tell. There's 3 rounds left. We have a nice championship lead as of right now of 21 points. Look at that, what a beautiful machine. She has the double Acropovic exhaust. What a beautiful machine. Now I hope it goes as well as it looks, because the Husqvarna wasn't the best looking livery, but it went really well. So overall, I'm hoping I didn't make a bad decision to join. We're just doing a small bit of fixing the number, changing colour and all that. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. It was a great one for my championship challenge, taking a good 15 points off of Jed Beaten in this round, extending my lead to over 21 points, almost a full race win now. 3 rounds left. We're off to Spain next for a track that is inherently difficult when the track gets rutted. But yeah, we're going to give it our best. It'll be our debut with Honda, so it's going to be a fun one. But thank you all for tuning in today. Thanks all for watching. I shall catch you all in the next episode. Bye bye.